The police officer standing at my front door didn't ask if I was Daniel Carter. He already knew. He simply looked at me with a serious expression and said, "Sir, you were supposed to be dead yesterday." At first I laughed because I thought it was some kind of mistake. Then he handed me a folder containing my own death certificate. It had my full name, my date of birth, my social security number, and according to the document, I had died in a boating accident nearly 24 hours earlier. The problem was obvious. I was standing right in front of him. My name is Daniel, I'm 34 years old, and until that moment, I thought my biggest problem was trying to save my struggling marriage. I had no idea someone had already planned my funeral. My wife, Olivia, and I had been married for 6 years. We lived in a quiet suburb outside Seattle, Washington. From the outside, we looked like the perfect couple. We smiled in family photos, hosted barbecues, and posted vacation pictures online. But behind closed doors, things had changed. Olivia had become distant over the past year. She guarded her phone, stayed late at work almost every night, and always seemed nervous whenever I asked simple questions. Every time I brought it up, she blamed stress. I wanted to believe her because I loved her more than anything. Looking back now, I realize love can sometimes blind you to the obvious. The officer introduced himself as Detective Ryan Brooks. He explained that a hospital had reported my death after someone presented documents identifying me as the victim of a boating accident. The body had been badly damaged, making visual identification impossible, but the paperwork matched my identity perfectly. "Someone wanted the world to believe you were dead," he said. My stomach tightened. Who would do something like that? The detective didn't answer immediately. Instead, he asked a question that changed everything. "Did your wife recently take out a large life insurance policy?" My heart skipped a beat. About 3 months earlier, Olivia had insisted we update our financial planning. She told me it was a responsible thing for married couples to do. I barely read the paperwork because I trusted her completely. She handled most of our finances anyway. I nodded slowly. Detective Brooks looked down at his notes before saying, "The payout on that policy is $5 million. $5 million. Suddenly, every late night at work, every secret phone call, and every strange conversation replayed in my mind. I tried calling Olivia immediately, straight to voicemail, again. Voicemail, again. Her phone was turned off. Detective Brooks asked if he could come inside. We spent the next 2 hours going through bank statements, insurance documents, and emails. That's when we found something unusual. 2 weeks before my fake death, Olivia had transferred nearly every dollar from our joint savings account into a brand new account I had never seen before. Nearly $180,000 had disappeared overnight. I felt sick. "Maybe there's an explanation," I whispered, even though I didn't believe my own words. Brooks looked at me with sympathy. "Mr. Carter, I think your wife was preparing to disappear." The detective asked for permission to search the house. I agreed. While officers photographed documents, I wandered upstairs into our bedroom. Everything looked normal until I opened Olivia's closet. Half her clothes were gone, so were 2 suitcases. I stood there frozen. She hadn't packed after my supposed death. She had packed before it. On the top shelf sat a small jewelry box. Inside wasn't jewelry. It was a prepaid cell phone, a passport in Olivia's name, and another passport, under the name Emily Ross. Same photo, different identity. My hands started shaking. My wife wasn't just planning a trip. She had created an entirely new life. Before I could process any of it, my phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number. "If you want to stay alive, don't tell anyone you're still breathing." I stared at the message until another one appeared seconds later. "They're watching your house." My blood ran cold. I rushed to the front window without thinking. Across the street sat a black SUV with dark-tinted windows. It had been parked there all morning, but I'd never paid attention to it. As I watched, the engine started. The SUV slowly pulled away before disappearing around the corner. I showed the messages to Detective Brooks. His expression changed instantly. "These weren't sent by your wife," he said quietly. "Whoever sent this just saved your life." For the first time since the investigation began, I realized something terrifying. Maybe Olivia wasn't the only person involved, and maybe I wasn't the real target. Detective Brooks immediately ordered 2 officers to check the neighborhood cameras while another officer traced the anonymous number. Within minutes, he came back looking frustrated. "The number doesn't exist anymore," he said. "It was created through an encrypted service and destroyed after sending those texts." Whoever had contacted me knew exactly how to avoid being found. Before we could continue, the doorbell camera on my phone sent a notification. Someone had walked onto my porch, left a plain brown envelope, and disappeared before the officers outside noticed. Brooks carefully opened it while wearing gloves. Inside was a single flash drive and a handwritten note. "Trust no one, especially Olivia." We plugged the flash drive into the detective's laptop. The screen filled with security footage from a parking garage dated 3 nights before my fake death. The timestamp showed Olivia getting into the same black SUV I'd seen outside my house. She wasn't alone. A tall man wearing a gray suit hugged her before handing her a thick envelope. Then they kissed. My stomach dropped. The detective paused the video and zoomed in on the man's face. "Do you know him?" I shook my head. I'd never seen him before. Brooks quietly wrote down the license plate visible on the SUV and called it in. 5 minutes later, his phone rang. His expression changed. "The SUV belongs to a company that doesn't officially exist." He looked at me. "Daniel, I don't think this is just insurance fraud anymore." That evening, I couldn't stay in my own house. The police moved me to a secure hotel under a fake name while they searched for Olivia. Around midnight, I woke to another message from the same anonymous sender. "Room 614 isn't safe. Leave now." My heart started pounding. I opened the door cautiously and looked into the hallway. Everything seemed normal. Then I smelled smoke. Seconds later, the fire alarm exploded throughout the hotel. Guests poured into the hallway in panic. Detective Brooks grabbed my arm and rushed me toward the emergency exit instead of the elevators. The moment we stepped outside, a massive explosion shattered the front entrance of the hotel. Glass rained across the parking lot. People screamed. Firefighters rushed in. Brooks stared at the burning lobby before turning to me. "That wasn't an accident. Whoever wanted me dead had just tried again." The next morning, investigators recovered security footage from the hotel. A maintenance worker had entered the building 20 minutes before the explosion, carrying a toolbox. No one had seen him leave. His fingerprints matched no one in the national database. As we reviewed the footage, Brooks received another call. Officers had finally located Olivia's car, abandoned near a private airport outside Seattle. Inside, they found 2 passports, a burner phone, and a one-way boarding pass to Costa Rica. But Olivia herself had vanished. Everyone assumed she had escaped, everyone except me. Something didn't feel right. If Olivia wanted $5 million, why disappear before collecting it? Why leave behind evidence that pointed directly at her? None of it made sense. Late that afternoon, the anonymous sender contacted me again. This time, there was an address. "Come alone if you want the truth." Brooks insisted on surrounding the area with undercover officers, but from a distance. The address led to an abandoned boat warehouse on the edge of the harbor. My footsteps echoed through the empty building as I walked inside. "Hello?" I called. No answer. Then a woman's voice whispered, "Daniel." I turned. Olivia stepped out from behind a stack of shipping crates. She looked terrified, exhausted, and nothing like the confident woman I'd married. Before I could speak, she burst into tears. "I'm so sorry," she said. "I never wanted this." Anger exploded inside me. "You faked my death," I shouted. "You stole our money." She shook her head violently. "I did those things because they told me if I didn't, they'd kill you." I stared at her in disbelief. "Who?" Olivia looked over her shoulder as if someone might be listening. "The man in the gray suit. His name isn't Michael like he told me. His real name is Victor Kane." She explained that nearly 2 years earlier, she'd accidentally witnessed Victor bribing a corporate executive while working as an accountant. Victor discovered she had copied financial records proving millions of dollars were being laundered through shell companies. Instead of killing her immediately, he forced her to cooperate. He ordered her to convince me to sign insurance papers because he planned to fake my death, collect the payout through forged documents, and eliminate every witness, including Olivia herself. "I thought if I played along," she cried, "I'd find a way to save you." Before I could answer, a slow clap echoed through the warehouse. Victor Kane stepped out of the shadows, smiling. You always were too emotional, Olivia. He looked directly at me. And Daniel, you're much harder to kill than I expected. He pulled out a pistol. At that exact moment, Detective Brooks and the SWAT team burst through every entrance shouting,